Music from the wrong side of the tracks. This is a show that drags you through the gritty alleys of sleaze rock, gutter glam, and all forms of dirty rock and roll. We're here to crank up the volume and dive deep into the dirtiest, sleaziest, most glamorous rock and roll out there. Whether it's the classics or the underground hits, we've got you covered. And now, here are your hosts, Andy and Gary.
Hello, and welcome back to another exciting, thrilling episode of the Rock and Roll Gutter Podcast. My name is Gary, and with me is the co-host and founder, Andy. Hey, Andy, who do you think we should tackle today?
Today, we're going to discuss the band that kicked down the door to the Rock and Roll Boys Club, the Donnas.
The Donnas.
Queens of pop-punk rebellion. Just four teenage girls, Brett Anderson, Allison Robertson, Maya Ford, and Tori Castellano, just friends trying to survive high school. But instead of forming a study group or becoming a cheerleader, they decided they were going to form a band. We're talking about a band that starts out in their parents' garage, fights to be taken seriously, and refuse to compromise their identities, except for the part where they all change their names to Donna.
Donna.
The members of the Donnas are all born in 1979, and they became friends by the time they all reached the 8th grade.
I guess all of them were self-taught musicians, and they were all hanging out at Palo Alto High School. And apparently, Brett Anderson, who's the lead singer, was born on May 30th, 1979, while Allison Robertson, who was the guitarist, was born on August 26th, 1979. But here's the interesting part. Both Maya Ford, who's the bass player, and Tori Castellano, who's on the drums, they were born on the same day, January 8th, 1979. When asked how the Donnas got the name the Donnas, lead singer Brett Anderson says it came from rearranging a McDonald's logo, of all things, Andy.
McDonald's seems like kind of an odd source of inspiration for a band name, but at least they didn't try to cop the golden arches as part of their logo. The group says they initially bonded over a shared love of classic rock bands like the Ramones, AC/DC, the Runaways, and Kiss. It's kind of funny that the Ramones get lumped in with classic rock, but if you think about it, every one of these bands was formed before these girls were ever born.
Pretty much right.
They formed their first band, and they call it Raggedy Ann, and this was in May of 1993.
That's a great name for a band.
That is.
It is.
So they did this because they wanted to perform at their school's Day in the Green event. I mean, imagine that. You're performing for your classmates before you've even figured out how the hell to do algebra. And they practice all the time in the drummer's garage, and that's where they honed those self-taught musician skills.
In the garage. Isn't that the way most of the stories start?
That's the way all bands should start.
It was never in the pool.
No.
So we tried really hard.
So I guess the band begins playing small shows around town and ends up recording independently. And in 1995, they released their first EP titled High School Yum Yum. And this was released under their name, Raggedy Ann. But it wasn't too long before the band evolved into the new name, the Electrocutes, which was a kind of thrashy Sonic Youth-inspired band. But there's a twist here. They created a side project called the Donnas. And this was aiming for a Ramones-style punk rock sound with a kind of tongue-in-cheek punk aesthetic. Who the hell has energy in high school to play in two bands as a teenager? I mean, short attention span?
I don't know. I guess they hooked up with this guy named Darren Raffaelli, who later became their producer, but he was working with them and helping them hone their skills and whatever, and was helping to write some songs of his own that he hoped the band would cover. But apparently it didn't fit into what the Electrocutes were doing, which was more of a thrashy kind of a thing, and what he was going for was more of a Ramones-inspired kind of sound. So I think that's one of the reasons in the stories that I've read that they offshoot into the side project, which became the Donnas, obviously. I think they're often compared as a cross between the Ramones and the Runaways, and as an homage to the Ramones, they all took matching first name Donna, and their last names were the first initial of their last names, so Brett Anderson became Donna A, and so on. Think of it as their superhero, alter egos, Ramones, whatever, except instead of saving the world, they were writing catchy but aggressive songs. Imagine four girls armed with guitars, bass, bass, drums, and more attitude than your favorite snarky TV character. And they just didn't rest on the gimmick of being 4 women in a rock band. Their talent was pretty much undeniable. In an early interview, the band claims that they were considered uncool kids before forming the band, but
nerds.
Yeah, exactly. But, once they formed the band, thinking that would make them cooler, did their social circle grow? No. They claimed that being in a band made them even seem like even bigger weirdos. And the reasoning for that claimed that part of the drive behind starting a band was to hang out with the cute boys that played in bands.
Ooh.
But it had the opposite effect on the boys, who probably viewed the girls as a threat to their status quo. I don't know. Anyhow, in 1997, the Donnas released their self-titled debut album, chock full of tracks about partying, boys, booze, drugs, and the nefarious hated classmates.
Those bitches.
I'm telling you, they quickly gained attention for their catchy, rebellious energy. And, they even toured Japan during their senior year of high school. I mean, most high schoolers dream of getting laid, going to the prom. These girls are playing rock shows overseas.
That's crazy.
I don't know. They were the queens of garage rock revival. They tried to blend punk energy with hard rock hooks and lyrics that were equal parts rebellious and hilarious and, sexist and whatever. It's like shoe on the other foot,
Right.
I think this would be a good time to give you a little taste of what the Donnas are all about. Instead of starting out in chronological order with some of their first releases or whatever, instead we want the listeners on their first listen of the Donnas to, effectually, moved. So we're going to start with this lead-off track. This track is titled Fall Behind Me. This comes from their Gold Medal album a little later in their career. This was produced by Butch Walker, most notably producer of The Stars, or at least he was during, this time period, but also a member of a really cool power pop band called Marvelous 3.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't know anything about them, you should check them out.
So here we have song Fall Behind Me from the album The Donnas Turn 21.
Oh, and one thing, too. Later on, this song was used as a campaign commercial for the Nissan Xterra vehicle. So that's a little trivia bit right there. So here we go. Fall Behind Me.
I can't believe she bought it. She
Donnas worked with producer Darren Raffaelli for their first two albums, the first of which was recorded at a Mailboxes Etc. shop where he worked. I wonder if he had permission from his manager to do that.
Yeah, I'm going to Xerox some copies of the band flyers too when no one's looking, so keep an eye out.
So the first album they simply called The Donnas, and that was released on Raffaelli's Super Team record label.
1997, kids.
The Donnas start getting the attention of other labels, and Lookout Records comes knocking. You'll probably know Lookout Records from their association with acts like Rancid, but also for Green Day's massive selling record, Dookie. So Lookout Records releases their follow-up album, American Teenage Rock and Roll Machine, in 1999, and then also Get Skin Tight in the year 2000.
Hey, did you know that Skin Tight was produced by Jeff and Steve McDonald from Red Cross?
Yeah, that's a pretty big feather in your cap there.
Yeah, there's some producing right there, right?
Right.
Okay.
Those guys know how to write a hook.
Moving on.
So these records really marked the evolution of this band into a more polished but still edgy sound. They had songs like Skin Tight and Do You Want to Hit It?
Double entendre.
And those songs become staple of their live act. And the songs were starting to become characterized by driving beats, empowering lyrics. As the band grows, people are starting to urge them to try to get hooked up with a major record label. And I guess reportedly, Lookout Records didn't really have the kind of budget that the band needed for, say, tour support, because they're starting to grow and they were outgrowing that label. So December 2001, they end up signing with heavyweight Atlantic Records.
Atlantic, home of Led Zeppelin.
So the early 2000s were the Donnas' real breakout years. I mean, after signing with Atlantic, they released the album Spend the Night in 2002, which marked their major label record debut. This album features the single Take It Off, which really propelled them into mainstream recognition. And they start making appearances on shows like Total Request Live, if anyone remembers MTV, Saturday Night Live, if anyone remembers comedy from back in the day, The Tonight Show with Jay Leno, Late Show with David Letterman.
All the heavyweights.
Right. And then in 2003, they end up performing on the main stage at Lollapalooza, which is a big deal.
Not that little dinky stage off to the side. Not that glorified circus tent.
Right. Not where Korn should have been.
All those people with no shoes on, just traipsing through the mud.
And then this sort of helped build their status amongst the rock scene. They had their songs, a lot of their songs or versions of their cover songs on 22 soundtracks or compilation albums.
You know something? Just for grins and giggles, I decided to check on the streaming platform Spotify. Careful now. You know, and the Donnas are listed as being on a total of over 160 compilation and film soundtrack discs, as well as their seven full-length album releases on their own. But
160.
I counted them personally. 1, 2. I was pretty tired by the time I got to 162.
Yeah, but isn't this drummer math?
You know, times 2 to infinity. Most of these are one-off compilations that you've never heard of before, but imagine they're on 162 different compilation and film soundtracks.
Yeah, that's impressive. I don't care who it is. So what if we listen to a little bit of that song, Take It Off, from the Spend the Night album from the Donnas from 2002.
This one really moves. This one is catchy, grabby, hooky, all the things that you would want. Great vocal lyrics for great harmonies, great guitar hooks.
Yeah, real high energy.
Turn it up.
But I've had a few before. I'm trying hard to
don't you like that, kids? That song was everywhere.
Everywhere.
It was like the anthem for messy, unapologetic fun. Even, Budweiser even co-opted that song for their one of their Budweiser beer campaigns.
Really?
Yeah, but, here's the thing. The Donnas weren't just about partying. Their lyrics, their attitude challenged the male-dominated rock scene, Obviously, they faced the classic, are you really playing those instruments? Right. I don't even know. Skepticism that so many all-female bands get,
girls can't play.
Yeah, exactly. Here's a little bit of a spoiler alert. Not only were they playing, but they were killing. They were shredding.
Yeah, definitely.
In interviews, the band stated that they they always got a lot of what people call complissalts.
Yeah.
You know what a complissalt is, Andy?
That's a backhanded compliment. Starts out as a compliment and ends up as an insult.
Yeah, something like, you don't sweat much for a fat girl. Complissalt. There you go. That's, I'm telling you.
Your dick's not as small as I thought it was.
So they got lots of that shit, received plenty of backhanded compliments like, you guys can actually play, or you guys don't suck. It's like, well, geez, thanks, I guess.
Yeah.
Why aren't you on the stage, fat boy?
Yeah.
And let's talk about their presence on the big stage. The band was often known for their high energy live shows, male, female, whatever. A high energy live show is a high energy live show,
Right.
They played Lollapalooza. If you can survive that crowd, you can pretty much hold your own, especially, and they hit late night TV. They had their songs featured in movies. I'll get a little bit to more of that a little bit later. But they were everywhere, proving that girls, women, whatever, could rock just as hard, if not harder, than a lot of the guys that were out there on the scene at the time. This is one of those double entendre songs that the girls giving it back to the guys. The guys had a gajillion songs. All these, metal, ballads had double entendres in them. But Here's one from the girls to the guys. This one is a song titled "Take Me to the Back Seat" from the album "Spend the Night." Here are the Donnas. Turn this one up too.
But it wasn't all smooth sailing. Behind the scenes, they faced pressure to conform to the typical industry expectations. The record labels really wanted them to tone down their edge and make their music more marketable, or otherwise known as sucking. The Donnas said, no thanks.
Marketable.
Yeah, they were determined to stay true to their roots, but being uncompromising typically comes at a cost, and eventually they end up parting ways with Atlantic Records.
We'll see you later, lads.
You're out of here, girls. So that's when they took matters into their own hands bands and decided they're going to start their own record label. I mean, how many times have we heard that?
You can't get dropped by your own label, or can you?
Yeah, maybe.
Girls, I've got some good news and I've got some bad news.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Accounting figures have been come to light, and Donna A., can I see you and bring everything in your desk drawers with you, please, to the front office?
So they end up naming the record label Purple Feather Records, and they end up producing their 2007 album titled Bitchin', and it was supposed to be a full-throttle return to their rock and roll form. It's a shame it didn't get as much mainstream attention, because it's a killer album.
2007 seems so long ago, doesn't it?
It's almost 20 years ago.
Well, drummer math, you know.
Oh, that's true.
Exactly. It goes into...
And the album honestly received mixed reviews. David Raposa, who's a writer for Pitchfork magazine, said, quote, sounds like a half-hearted compromise between what the group was and what the group wants to become.
Don't be a dick, David Raposa.
And then AllMusic reviewer Stephen Thomas Erlewine wrote,
easy for you to say.
Apparently not. The Donnas once rocked as if they were tanked to the gills, but now they sound like they're playing with ferocious hangovers they just can't shake. Ouch.
Like I say, Steven, get your ass up on the stage. Show us what you've got, lad. Other than a typewriter. Did they have typewriters? No. Probably on your smartphone.
Yeah, or laptops.
I'm a reporter.
So what if we listen to a bit of the song, Do You Want to Hit It? Another one of those fun double entendre songs. And this one comes from the album, The Donnas Turn 21.
This is another one where I would strongly suggest that you turn this one up. Right. Here we go. The band released a best of collection titled Greatest Hits Volume 16 to celebrate their 16th year as a band. Haha.
That's impressive.
The album was a mix of new songs, re-recorded versions of older songs, and a few previously unreleased tracks. Here's some, random facts that I found out about the Donnas while doing a little bit of research for this episode. The Donnas' last live show was 2012. When asked, Brett Anderson considers was the Donna's peak, and she considers the album, in her opinion only, that the album Gold Medal was the band's artistic peak, but is first to acknowledge that probably Get Skin Tight is the one that's probably the most like the Donnas. Mm-hmm. Ironically, Andy, that Gold Medal album produced by Butch Walker is the album that moved the fewest units and was probably ultimately led to them being dropped by Atlantic Records.
That's crazy to have him behind the board with all the success he's had in the recent history, and then it just didn't work out for the Donnas.
I guess in an interview from 2017, the band's lead vocalist, Brett Anderson, discussed the end of the band and turning down offers to reunite Tonight, implicitly confirming that the band is no more. And in the same interview, she also mentions that there are no plans to release previously unreleased studio recorded songs. But let's see, they have at least 6 songs on various video games, as well as Guitar Hero and Rock Band 2. Mm-hmm. The song Fall Behind Me was used in a Nissan Xterra commercial. Take It Off was used in a Budweiser commercial. The Donnas music also appears in numerous film soundtracks, and the band actually appeared in the 1999 movie Drive Me Crazy as the Electrocutes, and later on the television series Charmed. And the Donnas can also be heard on the Mean Girls movie during the end credits, playing a cover of the Billy Idol song Dancing With Myself that's pretty traditionally straight across, but still a rockin' little song. And also that song previously mentioned, Take It Off, they're both in the movies Dodgeball and the movie The Hangover. You know, a cover version of the Kiss song Strutter by the band was used in the soundtrack to the 1999 movie Detroit Rock City. Also, the band did the TV theme song for the 2006 Winter Olympics U.S. women's snowboarding team.
So honestly, it's a pretty impressive resume.
You know, they definitely got around. Apparently, also, let's see, the band has no fewer than at least 5 or 6 official videos during their career on YouTube, if you want to look them up and see what the band was all about. The official videos are for the songs Take It Off, Too Bad About Your Girl, Who Invited You, Fall Behind Me, and I Don't Want to Know If You Don't Want Me. And if you'd like to see several full live shows, there's one in February of 2003, which was live at the Paradise in Boston, which is about 45 minutes in length. And 2008's live at the Berkeley Church was about an hour in its entirety. So if you wanted to see some of the band in action, you're definitely entitled to.
Yeah, it's worth checking out for sure. They look like a lot of fun, high-energy performances.
And as one last thing, and, now we're just going through, lists or whatever, but the Donnas have 7 full-length albums out. The Donnas, self-titled in 97, American Teenage Rock and Roll Machine, Andy said, in 98, Get Skin Tight in 99. The Donnas turned 21 in the year 2001, Spend the Night in the year 2002, Gold Medal in 2004, and their last full release was the album Bitchin' on their own label, and that was released in 2007. After the band stopped touring, I guess Brett Anderson went on to study gerontology, in the medical field, proving she's a badass on and off the stage. Allison Robertson kept shredding with the bands Loud Lion and the Chelsea Girls, while Tori Castellano, drummer, returned to school at Stanford University, where she graduated in 2013 and went on to Harvard Law School. I guess she's currently working as an attorney, working at the Texas Office of Capital and Forensic Writs. I'm not sure what the basis Maya Ford is doing these days, as there's not much available on her.
I'm going to guess witness protection program. It's the only thing that makes sense. So, back around 2009, the band ended up going on tour with both Pat Benatar and Blondie as part of their joint Call Me Invincible tour. Unfortunately, at this time, drummer Tori Castellano, she's unable to play on any of those tour dates as she started suffering from severe tendinitis of the shoulder. They say this injury was due to the fact, as a self-taught drummer, she was holding the drumsticks incorrectly and sustained some long-term damage over time.
Take them out of your teeth, Tori. Come on, hold them like a normal person.
Right. The band ends up bringing in their longtime friend, Amy Cesari, known for the band The Demonics, to fill in on that tour for Castellano. And speaking of Tori, on July 9th, 2010, she announced on the band's website that due to her continued shoulder problems, she would have to retire completely from drumming and performing with the Donnas.
I'm out, lads.
So
it's a flesh wound. I've had worse.
Let's acknowledge that physical toll. I mean, she develops severe tendinitis and has to step away. So imagine drumming hours every day. Ultimately, your body's just like, nope, we're done here. I mean, that has to be pretty crushing for her.
I guess Springsteen's drummer, Max Weinberg, who was also Conan O'Brien's drummer, I think, house drummer on the TV show or one of those late night shows.
I believe so.
Has had numerous surgeries on his hands and wrists being a drummer for, that length of time.
Yeah, decades.
Yeah, it can take its toll. So Tori's out.
He's out. And by 2013, the Donnas decided to go on hiatus. But, their impact's undeniable. I mean, they showed a whole generation of girls that it's okay to be loud, bold, and to take up space taste in a genre that's honestly doesn't necessarily welcome them in.
I would have liked to have seen what their rider was for their concert tour.
Right.
You know, if it was any different, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, the girls want Jack Daniels too? Seriously. Well, the Roses.
There was one interview I saw where they were talking about how they enjoyed playing so much with the band The Hives because they just hung out and drank with them all the time.
That'd be fun, wouldn't it?
Yeah. This band really did all this having fun. I mean, the music didn't scream about rebellion or anything like that. It's like, hey, you're invited to our party if you want to come, and really helped pave the way for other female-led bands that, you know, kind of rise up in the punk and hard rock world.
You know, I don't know, fast, quick, fun guitar chords, you know, Ramones reminiscent. What's not to like? Spirit of fun, high energy, competent musicians, clever, self-effacing lyrics, high presence, quirky, unfortunate, all-female tag that sometimes worked against them, but still, you know, put a lot of the male-dominated bands that were on the scene to shame. Maybe we'll do a future episode, but there's another all-female band that can rock as hard as most male bands out there, and it was a band called Betty Blowtorch.
Yeah.
But that's another episode for another day.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to do an episode on them.
So, Andy, let me see. What can we learn from the Donnas?
Sometimes the best way to make some noise is to be unapologetically you. You know, whether you're in a garage band or just living your life, I don't know, take a page out of their playbook. Rock hard, stay true, and, you know, don't let anyone tell you what to do. Just have some fun.
In the male-dominated and often litigious music hierarchy, to be an all-female band that has lasted for 7 studio albums and a total of 16 years together, that has toured the country and toured the world, you know, and has had major exposure. And again, lads, 160 different compilations, probably the same one fucking song. But I digress. Anyways, this band had something to offer, and thank you for hanging in there with us on this episode as long as you have. Spread the word, and hope you enjoyed it. Andy, what kind of final words do we have about the Donnas and our podcast?
Oh, let's end with a track off that Bitchin' album. And this one really shows how the Donnas progressed as a band, and, you know, really their songwriting really grew. And we're going to do a song called When the Show Is Over from the album Bitchin'.
God rest the Donnas.
And thanks for joining us, everybody. We appreciate your time. And remember, keep it trashy.
Keep it trashy.
Sometimes you can't
fallen comrade, Mr. Mink. I think Pink Floyd said it best. Wish you were here. You're here in spirit, brother.
Godspeed, Mink, wherever you may be.
You've been listening to the Rock and Roll Gutter Podcast. We hope you enjoyed our deep dive into the dirty world of rock and roll. If you did, please consider subscribing and leaving us a review on your favorite podcast platform. It really helps us reach more listeners like you.
And don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Rock and Roll Gutter Podcast for all the latest updates, news, and more.
Got questions, comments, or suggestions for future episodes? Reach out to us at rnrguttermail@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you.
So join us again next time for another wild ride through the raw and gritty side of rock and roll. So until then, keep it trashy.